Hey there, everybody. How's it going today? It's me, Kenneth Stahl. I don't have a lot to say to you right now, but I do hope to share with you guys a lesson that I've learned that maybe can be valuable to you in some way. Basically, the lesson is about how to improve yourself even more than what you have already, or how you can really take steps towards becoming a stronger, better version of yourself. I think that it's always a good idea to be honest about your problems. And our problems are our weak points, whether it's addictions to things, bad habits that we have, laziness, not putting in enough effort, or neglecting one area of our life or another to take care of ourselves in some way, to strengthen ourselves in some way. What I really focus on personally is personal development. It's self-improvement, and the way that I look at myself in my life is I constantly am basically evaluating myself. How much have I done in the past year? Where am I at today? What's my situation? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to be in a year or 2 years or 5 years? And am I getting closer to those goals? And lately I've been really just realizing that I need to figure out what the hell I'm doing wrong right now, because I'm not getting any closer to some of the goals I have. I just feel like I'm wasting a lot of time. I'm basically just super frustrated with myself and disappointed in just the lack of progress. And because I'm seeing a lot of no progress being made in my life right now, as I'm sure some of you guys are seeing the same thing, I think it's a good time for me to do a little bit of self-reflection. And I think this is something that I think all of us should always be doing, is doing this sort of self-reflection, looking at ourselves in the mirror figuratively and asking ourselves, what am I doing wrong? What am I not doing enough of? And this is something that can be uncomfortable because, this type of brutal honesty, it brings out, it really shines a light on the worst about ourselves, the weak points in who we are, the flaws that we have, our faults, and sometimes people try to run away from their problems. They don't want to face their problems. They just don't want to admit that they have problems in certain areas. Like for me, it's been so hard for me to admit that I have a problem being depressed, and if I really was going to be honest with myself, I'd admit that I have these major issues with depression. I should probably get some sort of treatment for it or something. Who knows? But it's something that I don't directly face head on. And one of the things that I'm hoping to do in my life more of is not hide from my responsibilities. It's not neglect to take care of myself. And basically, I'm really learning a lot about how to actually take good care of myself, because I haven't been taking good care of myself in my young adult life. And it's been I've paid the price, I think, for that, in my own way. As there's always consequences. If you don't take care of yourself good enough, whether you live an unhealthy lifestyle, whether you make bad financial decisions or career decisions, or there's all sorts of things that if you're not really taking care of yourself, you might find yourself to be in a difficult situation in the future. And one of the things that I'm just trying to do more of is just actually put more effort into fixing things that I don't like about myself. Instead of crying about being unhappy, instead of sitting here and complaining about everything all the time, I actually want to do more about what the hell I don't like about myself, and what I think that I need to do to get further in my life, accomplishing things. And the only way that you can ever make progress is if you really point out what, for all of this time so far in your life, what is it that has kept you from making the progress that you really want to have. If you feel like you should be somewhere else today but you're not there, well, what happened, right? Because there's the thing that we do all the time is we use our imagination to to create like almost like a fantasy of everything that we want. What would be the perfect life for yourself? What is the ideal situation if everything worked out the way you wanted it to? And we have this idea in our head, but that's idealism. That's just an idealistic fantasy, right? But at the end of the day, we are, if you're not where you wish you were, reality sets in, right? The more realistic situation sets in, and what you're gonna realize that you're not where you want to be, basically. That what reality doesn't line up with your imagination. So, what went wrong? Why? Why are you not where you want to be right now? If you thought you were going to be somewhere else today, but you're not there yet, why not? And in order to really find the answer to that question, you have to ask the question. You have to actually sit down and think about it. You have to do a little bit of self-reflection. You have to be able to identify the problems that you have and the things that like if you're ever going to work for a company and the company's failing, the company's not doing a good job at whatever they're trying to do, you have to learn how to solve problems. You have to learn how to identify those problems. And this is basically what I'm talking about when I say you have to be brutally honest about your failures. You have to be brutally honest about, your own flaws and your shortcomings. Because there's a reason why you don't have what you want right now. And I think only you can really figure out why that is. And I think that the only way to actually move forward, to actually get better, to actually become a better person, live a better life, have more, get more of what you want, is to try to minimize the amount of struggles that you have through, your personal flaws and weaknesses. And then do something about it. I just, like, for me, like, I think about, like, let me just do this real quickly in front of you guys so maybe you guys can kind of get an idea of what I mean. Like, for me, I'm sitting here right now in a position where I'm just so unhappy because I thought that at this point in my life I would have more money. I thought I would be doing something. I thought my YouTube channel would be a lot better. I thought that I would have a better relationship with my family and my girlfriend, and I thought that like there's so many things where I thought that I would have more. Like I thought I would, like I'm not having enough fun in my life. I'm not doing enough. I'm sitting at home all day playing video games, wasting my time, and I'm kind of a loser. But also, I don't think it's a good idea to call myself that, and I don't think it's a good idea for anybody to refer to themselves in a negative way like that. I think it's probably a good idea for me to stop saying that about myself. But I mean, let's just, like, that's just how I am, and I'm not afraid to admit it. It's part of the brutal honesty that you have to have. But when I say being brutally honest about yourself, that doesn't mean you have to be overly negative like that. That doesn't mean you have to just sit there and say bad things about yourself and hate yourself. I mean, anybody can do that. Because I have a YouTube channel, people call me nasty things all the time. It's not easy to hear, so I've heard all sorts of brutal things about myself, uncomfortable things about myself. Other people tell me that I cry too much, or that I need to man up, and that people just like to be mean sometimes. But, like, I have to figure out how to spend my time better. I think that time management is my biggest problem. And that's one of the things where if I don't actually sit down and think about that, if I don't actually have the conversation with myself, so to speak, doing the self-reflection, I'm never going to get to that as one of the core issues that I have. But actually sitting here and thinking, what is my biggest problem? It's time management. It's I'm not filling out my day with enough activities I'm not I don't have a calendar. Like I don't say, hey, I'm gonna do this thing later today at like 1 o'clock for a couple hours, and I need to do that more. Instead, I'm just letting time pass me by, and then I'm unhappy because I'm not doing anything, and then I cry about it. That's not a good. That's not a good life. So my question to you is, what could you be doing better in your life, and are you being honest about that? Are you able to have the sort of self-reflection where you can identify the biggest problems you have? And can you really understand why you're not at the point you wish you were at today? What is stopping you from making the progress that you really wish that you were having? If you can figure that out, you can, and you actually want to change and you want to take responsibility for your problems, well, then you're on the right path. You're going in the right direction. The first step to solving a problem is identifying it. So, are you willing to face maybe some uncomfortable truths about your own faults and failures and flaws? If you are, it's a good thing. And I hope that this makes sense to you. I'm not trying to lecture you. I'm trying to share with you guys something that I've learned, something that I think is very important. And if you'll notice through all my videos, I've always been honest about. I've been a little bit overly depressing because I've been depressed, so it comes across in a negative way. But I think if you'll watch some of my other videos, you'll notice that I'm always willing to be honest about the biggest problems that I have, because I know, I believe, and I understand that you can't run from your problems. You have to face them. And yeah, criticism is a good thing if it's productive, if there's some sort of a solution to it, you know. So yeah, honestly, all I really want is I want you guys to be happy in your life, because I know that I'm not, and I want to be happy myself, and I want to figure out how to get better, and this is just part of the process. So I wish you guys the best in your life. I love you all. Take care, and I'll see you next time.